My name is Lisa Ballbeck, and this is a milestone, my first milestone presentation for CIT190. And my project is on pirate games. The audience for my games is anybody who enjoys playing classic games with a little bit of a pirate twist. Interactive features include a mouse over effect with descriptions of each game when you point at the menu option. So basically, you'll point and you'll see a description of the game before you actually click to go into the game. I did a horizontal menu bar that you can see. And even though the requirement is 3 games, I had so much fun with this, I decided to do 5 games. So the requirement is 3 games with a README text file. And you can see I did 5. So the menu bar does span the page. It is responsive, and I will show you that when I demo the site. The background is a pirate ship. It is also responsive. And I chose the color for the navigation bar because it's neutral. It's a neutral color. And as far as this peach color where the descriptions are going to display, I thought that it went well with the sand. And there's sun that's kind of shining down on this ship. So I thought it all kind of blended real well. And again, when you point at these different games, it is going to show you a description. And I wanted that so that, you know, before you actually commit to going into a game, you can actually see what the game is about. The README is going to give licensing and copyright information. And so what I ended up doing to get this mouse over to work the way I wanted was I ended up using JavaScript. Initially, I coded the descriptions in paragraphs and I used CSS visibility, and I initially had them hidden. The problem with that is that when I would go over and I'd point at these games that are on the right, they would display at the bottom. Because even though the descriptions for Connect 4 and puzzles and tic-tac-toe, even though those descriptions were hidden, they were still occupying space on the screen. And so I didn't like that some of these descriptions were like way down at the bottom and they weren't right underneath the menu. I thought that looked weird. And so using the JavaScript mouse over with event listeners and event handlers created the effect that I wanted. Okay, and so I already talked about that problem. So specifically, I use the get element by ID with a mouse over event listener to trigger the display of the descriptions. And then I just updated the placeholder. We'll go back up here and look. There's an ID, a message ID here. And so I would just update that with the different descriptions based on, you know, what game they were pointing at. So this is how it looks in the HTML page. You can see I've got an ID associated with every single game. We'll talk about the README in a minute because that was another thing I didn't like how it was displaying. So I actually did quite a bit of coding for that. So here is my coded solution. And since we can see this code here, I will tell you what I did for the README. what would happen, because the README is a text file, when you click on that button, it would display the text file in place of all of the games. And then you'd have to click on the back button. And I didn't like that. So I decided that I would have the README text file display in its own little window. And so when they click on the README button, a new window is going to open and it's going to display the README text file. Okay, and I have the dimensions, and I did choose to display it with a menu bar and everything. So, they can go through, they can scroll, they can read it, and then they can close it. And the game window is still there, and they can still, then continue to play the games. So that was kind of my solution. So you can see on the previous page that this ended up being kind of a dummy link. And so when they do click on this, it is the event handler that actually takes over and opens up the new window. Okay, and again, this is just that code kind of isolated. And now I will show you the site live. So this is my live site. And as you can see, you can pause, and it actually does a really nice job of displaying all of the different descriptions. If I click on the README, it does open in a brand new window. And this has all of my game descriptions. Because I am done with the games, I was able to fill in the file directory. You can't really fill all of this in until you're done. I've got the contact information, and I've got my copyright. The copyright is not only for the games that I created, but it also indicates where I got the graphics and the sound effects from, and the fact that they are part of Creative Commons and they are royalty free. So that is my interface. I will show you that it is responsive. Turn that on. So I can go quite small with this. And the hover probably doesn't work quite as well on these, but there you go. So hope you enjoy playing my games when we get to that point in the class.